Welcome to Miss Detective. Brenda Ann Spencer was born on April 3, 1962, in San Diego, California. She was the youngest of three children born to Dorothy Nadine Hobel and Wallace Edward Spencer. Her childhood was marked by neglect and emotional instability. She developed a reputation as a troubled child, displaying antisocial behavior and struggling with health issues, including undiagnosed epilepsy. After discovering her husband's infidelity with multiple women, Dorothy filed for divorce in January of 1972. Brenda grew up in relative poverty, and from the age of 9, after her parents divorced, she spent most of her early life with her father. He was described as neglectful, contributing to an unhealthy home environment for his daughter. Wallace was also reported to be an alcoholic, which added to the dysfunction in their household. They lived in a small, dilapidated house in the San Carlos neighborhood of San Diego. The home was reportedly sparsely furnished, cluttered with empty bottles from alcoholic drinks. Apparently, Brenda and her father shared a single mattress on the living room floor. Their relationship was difficult and strained, and later she claimed that her father was abusive while her mother was absent. As a result, Brenda struggled with feelings of isolation and abandonment. She did not have many friends and was often bullied at school for her appearance and withdrawn behavior. Her childhood environment, marked by neglect, abuse, social isolation, and untreated mental health issues, played a crucial role in shaping the person she became. Despite demonstrating talent as a photographer, earning her first prize in a Humane Society competition, Brenda was generally indifferent to school and had a strong dislike for authority. At Patrick Henry High School, she was described as an introvert, and the teachers often questioned whether she was awake in class. Some classmates described her as crazy and admitted they were afraid of her. Brenda, measuring 5'1" and weighing 90 pounds, didn't strike an imposing figure. With her freckle-faced appearance, long bright red hair, and oversized silver-rimmed glasses, she was often described by classmates as pretty shabby-looking. Her preference for solitude further reinforced her loner status. Her frequent school absences drew attention, but when she did attend class, she raised eyebrows. On one such occasion, she allegedly informed her classmates she was going to do something big to get on TV. Acquaintances reported that Brenda harbored hostility toward policemen and had mentioned the idea of shooting one. She identified herself as a radical and derogatorily referred to policemen as pigs, often cheering when seeing news about officers being killed. Her father had a keen interest in collecting guns. He was an avid hunter and kept enough ammunition in the house to supply a small army, as one of his daughter's classmates put it. It seems his daughter shared his hobby from an early age. She had fantasized about being a sniper and often hunted birds around the neighborhood. Acquaintances who knew Brenda reported that she experimented with drugs and engaged in petty theft during her teenage years. In early 1978, staff at a facility for troubled students, where she had been referred due to truancy, warned her parents that she was suicidal. That summer, Brenda was arrested for burglarizing Grover Cleveland Elementary and shooting out its windows. Although police reports and eyewitness accounts mentioned the vandalism, they did not confirm the use of a BB gun during the incident. In December 1978, following a psychiatric evaluation arranged by her probation officer, it was recommended that Brenda be admitted to a mental hospital for depression. However, her father refused to consent, claiming that he could handle his daughter's mental health issues himself. That Christmas, he gave her a Ruger semi-automatic .22 caliber rifle with a telescopic sight and 500 rounds of ammunition instead of the radio she had wished for. She later remarked, "I asked for a radio and got a rifle." When asked why she thought he did this, she said, "He bought the rifle so I would kill myself." On the morning of January 29, 1979, children gathered outside Grover Cleveland Elementary School in San Diego, California, waiting for Principal Burton Ragg to open the school gates. Grover Cleveland was a small school with 319 students, 13 teachers, and 6 support staff members. From across the street, Brenda watched the children. Left home alone after her father had gone to work, she was supposed to get ready for school. Instead, she took out her semi-automatic rifle, aimed it out the window, and began firing at the children. The school driveway, flanked by an ivy-covered fence on the left and a wing of the school building on the right, formed a corridor that provided her with a clear line of sight from her front door to the school entrance, spanning 150 feet. Her first victim was a 9-year-old boy named Cam Miller because he was wearing her favorite color, blue. The bullet pierced him from back to front. A neighbor girl assisted him as he made his way to the school building. He and the other injured children were quickly moved to the auditorium to wait for an ambulance. Principal Ragg and teacher Darryl Barnes courageously stepped into the line of fire to help get the children inside the school to safety. 3 shots rang out, and Principal Ragg was struck in the heart. Despite witnessing the principal's injuries, Barnes continued to rescue children from the line of fire. School custodian Michael Suchar rushed out to try and pull Principal Ragg, who was still alive, to safety. Brenda fired 3 more shots, fatally striking Suchar. Later, Ragg died in surgery, and Suchar was dead on arrival at a local hospital. Robert Robb, a police officer, had responded to a call for assistance during the incident and was wounded in the neck upon arrival as he tried to help a wounded student to safety. Robb was taken to a hospital and listed in stable condition. He was released a few days later. The police blocked Brenda's line of fire by positioning a garbage truck in front of the school entrance. Shortly after the police arrived on the scene, they discovered that the shots had originated from the Spencers' home. As she continued shooting, officers surrounded the house. Nearly 300 students were gathered into an auditorium, where they stayed for several hours before being evacuated from the back of the school. For approximately 20 minutes, Brenda relentlessly fired about 30 rounds into the crowd. Afterward, she set the rifle aside, barricaded herself inside her home for hours, and waited. The police sent negotiators to speak with her, but she refused to cooperate with them. Her father was present at the scene, assisting in efforts to persuade her to surrender. According to police, her mother was there as well, but only briefly. Brenda alerted the authorities that she remained armed, and if forced to leave her house, she would come out shooting. While in the house, she spoke to a reporter from the Evening Tribune, who had been randomly calling telephone numbers in the neighborhood. When he realized he was speaking to the perpetrator, he asked what her motive was. She told him she did not like Mondays and that this livened up the day. Ultimately, Brenda surrendered peacefully and left the house, reportedly after being promised a hamburger by negotiators. The police found beer and whiskey bottles cluttered around the house, but said Brenda did not appear to be intoxicated when arrested. Of the 30 rounds she fired, she struck 11 people, hitting each one once. Miraculously, all the children survived, though 8 sustained injuries. Brenda was 16 years old at the time of the shooting, but was charged as an adult due to the severity of her crime. She pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder and assault with a deadly weapon. Consequently, she received a sentence of life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Although 9 counts of attempted murder were dismissed, her actions left a lasting impact. As part of her sentencing, Brenda became eligible for parole hearings starting in 1993. During her first hearing, held in that year, she revealed that she had hoped the police would shoot her during the school shooting. She also mentioned that she had used drugs at the time of the crime and was hallucinating during the shooting. Drug tests conducted upon her arrest yielded negative results. She also asserted that she had been under the influence of alcohol, further alleging that the state and her attorney conspired to conceal her drug test results. However, both former prosecutor Charles Patrick and her attorney, Michael McGlynn, strongly denied any evidence had been hidden in the case. Brenda also stated that she didn't realize she was firing at school children, mistaking them for birds. While in custody, it was discovered that Brenda had sustained an injury to her temporal lobe, which was linked to a bicycle accident. Injuries to the temporal lobe can impact several brain functions, such as memory, language, and emotional regulation. While it's uncertain how much this injury influenced Brenda's actions, it remains a significant part of her medical history. In her 2001 parole hearing, Brenda made allegations of physical abuse and sexual mistreatment by her father. However, her father denied these claims. The parole board chairman expressed skepticism about the veracity of her allegations, given that she had not previously disclosed them to anyone. Her attorneys have persistently argued that the abuse she suffered from her father was the true cause of her violent act, but the parole board has remained unmoved. Disturbingly, Wallace Spencer later married one of his daughter's 17-year-old cellmates, who bore a striking resemblance to Brenda. They had a daughter together, after which she fled the household and left Wallace to raise the child alone. They eventually divorced. Wallace died in February of 2016. In August 2022, Brenda and the Board of Parole Hearings reached an agreement that she was not suitable for parole. Consequently, she will not be eligible for another hearing for another 3 years due to this parole suitability denial. As of 2024, Brenda remains incarcerated at the California Institution for Women in Chino. Her next opportunity for a parole hearing will be in 2025. In memory of the shooting victims, a plaque and flagpole were erected at Cleveland Elementary. However, the school closed its doors in 1983, along with a dozen other schools in the city, due to declining enrollment. Over the ensuing decades, it was leased to several charter and private schools. In 2018, the school was demolished to make way for a housing development. The plaque was relocated to the former school's southern edge, situated at the corner of Lake Atlan Avenue and Lake Angela Drive. Bob Geldof, the lead singer of the Boomtown Rats, learned about the tragic incident after he read a report on it. Brenda's claim that she committed the act because she disliked Mondays struck a chord with Geldof, and he was inspired to write a song about it. The song was released in July 1979 and topped the charts in the United Kingdom for 4 weeks, becoming the band's biggest hit in their native Ireland. Although it didn't crack the top 40 in the United States, it still received significant radio airplay despite the Spencer family's efforts to prevent it. Geldof later revealed that Brenda had written to him, expressing that she was glad he had made her famous, a sentiment he found difficult to reconcile with. However, Brenda claims she never reached out to Geldof personally. Brenda Ann Spencer's tragic act of violence at Grover Cleveland Elementary School left an indelible mark on history. Despite her efforts to downplay her crime, she has acknowledged that her actions may have influenced other similar attacks. At the time, mass shootings were rare in America, but this incident marked a grim turning point in the nation's violent history, ushering in an era of school massacres where children became willing to open fire on their peers. Brenda Ann Spencer was the killer who initiated it all. The chilling phrase she uttered still echoes, reminding us of the devastating impact of school shootings. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.